Hello everyone and welcome to the 53rd episode of NiinaN Knitting. My name is Niina and I live in Jyväskylä in central Finland with my husband, our two kids and a dog. At the moment I'm not at home, we're at my mother-in-law's in the countryside, and I put some idyllic video of the countryside living at the very end of this video. I can assure you everything's not idyllic when you're in the countryside in a big house that needs to be warm and all that. So there's always stuff to do and not a lot of stuff that I can do because I'm not from here. Anyway, today is January the 5th. Happy New Year. I only have 2 finished objects to show you. I think I only took some photos of the first one, but you saw it as a whip last time, and well, I've seen them both as whips before. And then I have a new cast on, and I have knit quite a lot on it. It's quite big. It'll be difficult to show it to you, but I'll do my best. I know that I'll be busy after Tuesday, so I just figured I'll try and record something today, get it uploaded probably once we get back home. But yeah, let's get started. So my first finished objects, I have my show notes in here, so I'll just have to peek a glance at them. Are my Rose City rollers by pattern by Mara Catherine Bryner. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I was knitting them for my sister last time I showed them to you. I have pictures, I'm gonna put them on the screen. I used Novita Venla yarn, which is 420 meters for 100 grams fingering weight yarn, 75% wool, 25% polyamide, and the color was number 543. I think they called it tomato or something. And the needles I used were 3.5 millimeters, so that's US size 2.5. Once I'd finished the socks, they weighed 36 grams, so they were really a good project to use your scraps for. But this one, I think I had a full skein when I started, and I have 2 not full skeins of the same colorway, even though they're not the same dye lot, I think. But I'll be making some socks for myself from that one, so it's not a big deal. The only modification I made for the pattern was the Io Partridge heel that I used, and I showed it to you last time because I was just at the heel then, I think. But I gave them for my sister for Christmas or for birthday, because her birthday's on the 19th of December, so either one. And then my second finished object is something I do have in here, but the light is not good. I did take some photos yesterday, I think, and they're pretty good, so I'll insert them as well. But they are my She Blinded Me with Science socks by Becky, Greene. And yeah, as you can see, the colorway is really dark. This yarn is a discontinued Novita yarn. It's Novita Tico Tico, 401 meters by 100 grams, 75% wool, 25% polyamide, so it's the same blend that they use for Venla nowadays, but the spinning or something is different because there are a little less meters by 100 grams, although I find this yarn thinner than Venla. I used my 2.5 millimeter needles for this. That's US size 1.5. I knit them 2 at a time on magic loop, and the the needles that I used were Knit Pro Zings circulars, and I found them difficult with, at least with this yarn. So because the yarn was so thin, the stitches were really small on that needle, of course, and the join between the cable and the needle tip was not good. So I was struggling whenever I was moving stitches from the cable to onto the needle. So I didn't enjoy that, but I'll try them once again before I try and sell them, I guess. I did make a really small modification for the pattern. In the pattern, where you stop the last cables and you can't really see anything. So there's a row of pearls, and I think you were just supposed to start doing plain stockinette and then do the toe decreases, but I just felt that it would look nicer with sort of a V shape. Let's see if my other, oh, that's better because it's not as dark. So yeah, I didn't just bluntly stop the pearls here and start doing stockinette. I did the, sort of a cable, one by one cable, and started the stockinette in here and start doing more stockinette and less pearls, or reverse stockinette. So yeah, that's the only modification I made for the pattern. With the thin yarn that I used and the thin needles that I used, this sock got more narrow than I thought, not narrower than I thought, because the patterning is both in the front and the back, and the cable going here is pretty tight. It means that the leg has less give than it would if this back of the foot was, for example, ribbing or just plain stockinette or something. But it's very narrow and it's not easy to get it past the heel. It is difficult. So I was thinking that I might give these for my nephew's girlfriend for Christmas. Yeah, I finished them late, but I did tell her that there'd been a delay in the elves' house or elves' workshop. But I'm not gonna give these to her because they're just so narrow. I'm going to give them to somebody who's got very narrow feet. That means a child and not, I think, a 20-year-old or something. So yeah, that's a change of plans. I'm hoping to start a pair that will fit her tomorrow. I'll talk about it a little later. And then my work in progress. I've had this in my queue for years, and I got the pattern, the paid for pattern, from a friend, from a knitting friend, Locatelli, years ago, and I swatched for this, I think a year ago or something. But now I finally have it on my needles, and it's pretty big. It's not easy to show it, but it's my everything by Locatelli. And you start from here, do a provisional cast on, and you start doing this wonderful big squishy cable in the middle. This is the middle of the back. Oh, sorry, showing you the wrong side. This is the right side. and then you have place stockinette on both sides. And when you get to a certain point, you put these stockinette stitches on hold, and then you do this, continue knitting this big cable until you reach a certain amount of centimeters, and then you start doing it sideways. So you bind off these, and then you pick up stitches from here, from the side of the central cable, and then you start knitting down or forwards or whatever from it, and doing this huge cable that will go in the hem. So, ooh, this is how it's gonna go. So you do the first, the right first. This is the back, and it's going under your arm, and doing the front. And I'm almost at the point where I start picking up stitches from the provisional cast on, and it goes somehow together with it. That remains to be seen, because of course I did not read the whole pattern through before I started it, because who does that? Not me. And yes, I have experience on why you should do that, but well, I haven't. Anyway, I forgot to talk to you about my yarns. I have just little nuggets of these left at the moment. Let me see, I have my little pouch of yarn tags in here. So this fluffy thing is Concept by Katja, silk mohair. I weighed each falls and make sure it's the amount of yarn that's supposed to be this. So this is 25 grams ball, and there are 200 meters in a ball, so 25 grams, which means it's 800 meters by 100 grams, 70% mohair and 30% silk. Very nice and fluffy. And then the other one, this one is also by Katja. This is it. Concept by Katja. Cotone Merino Fino. And this yarn, let's see if I can show it to you. Yeah, you can probably see that. You know, I think it's a tube. And then they've blown stuff in it, or just that it's sort of an I-cord with the different ingredients or something. I don't know. So it has 110 meters by 100 grams, F25 grams, which means it's 440 grams, 440 meters by 100 grams. Sort of a fingering weight, but well, it's not because it's so thick. And the fibers in it, 22% polyamide and 78% virgin wool. And that's what I'm using for this project, because it calls for a worsted weight yarn. It was ages ago when I went to one of my local yarn stores in Jyväskylä called Neurosi, and I talked with the store owner on about what kind of a yarn I would use for this particular project, and it requires a lot of meters, as you can imagine, with all these big cables and the sheer size of the whole cardigan. So for my size, according to the pattern, it needs 1,800 meters of, uh, of yarn, of worsted weight yarn. The only worsted weight yarn she had, I think, in the store, or the one that we were looking at, was Malabriga Rios. And for 1,800 meters, I would have needed, I don't even remember, but a very, very big amount, big weight of yarn. And we both agreed that the cables and all would come better, would be nicer to see in a sort of a light and fluffy, more or less fluffy texture than in a cardigan that would weight that would have a lot of weight, and the hem would have a lot of weight, and it would pull the whole thing down. And yeah, I don't know if it is that way. I don't know if people have made it from Malabriga Rios, maybe. But anyway, that was sort of what we were thinking. So we wanted, or I wanted, to find something lighter, and this will be it. And yes, it is light. I don't remember how much yarn I have for it. I should have enough at least. And I'm gonna wait after I finish, but well, it'll be a lot less than if I had made or used the same amount of meters in Malabriga Rios, for example. But that being said, yeah, maybe people uh, think of Malabriga Rios as sort of a high-end yarn, at least I do. It's not inexpensive, but I do have to admit that all the yarn for this project, which needs a lot of yarn, a lot of meters, and I'm using 2 yarns at once. It's not a cheap thing. It's really not a cheap thing, but it's something that I've been planning to make for years, and I'm convinced it will be something that I will wear for a long, long time. So it'll be worth it. And yes, I will tell you how much it cost after I finish it. I forgot to tell you about the cost of my finished objects, but for the Rose City rollers, 36 grams. A few euros in yarn. Uh, she blinded me with science socks. I got the yarn from somebody who was just giving it away, and the pattern was free on Ravelry. It was a mystery sock, so again, no charges for me. But yeah, we'll see what happens with this one. I'm using 6.0 millimeter needles for this. That's US size 10. They're huge, but they do give me the sort of texture that I like. So it's fine. Besides, it goes really fast with this. I have a system with my stitch markers here, because this big cable is a repetition of stuff that you do. So okay, let's start from here. So there's one sort of thing that you do for 3 back and forth, 3 times back and forth. Then you do 1 row of something else, and I don't need a stitch marker for that one. But then you do another thing for a number of rows that I've not marked with these orange and red stitch markers, and then you start doing something else for 4 times back and forth. So just to make sure that I don't make mistakes in the wobbly cable, and the rows are really long, so I do want to keep tabs on what I do, but I don't want to use a Knit Companion, which is an app I do use for a lot of projects that I make, but for the most of the time It's just doing stuff that I do know, and it will feel weird or a waste of time to have an app on all the time and just move the row every so often. So that's why I have this stitch marker system here. I have done one different thing in here. Let's see where, because you do short rows when you start doing the hem, and in the pattern they use wrap and turns. I didn't, because my wrap and turns I've found before are not nice. So I tried doing German short rows, and this is the row where you can see that I've used them. So it's very loose, not very nice. But the next one here, even though you can sort of see that the short rows, it's a lot neater. And this is where I started using the Japanese short rows that I found in a pattern by Yarn Flakes, who's Audrey. She has a podcast, and I made her Trosa t-shirt this summer, and she had the Japanese short rows in her pattern, and I really like how they come out. So at least when I do it, it's a lot better than German short rows, a lot better than my wrap and turns, even though sort of the idea is the same, but it's done a little differently. I'll put a link in the show note. It's already in my projects, but I try and remember to put it in the show notes also. Yes, that's it, and I'm gonna leave it here on my lap because it's very cold. I can put on the screen what the temperature is. It's below 0 at least. It's a clear sky, which means in the wintertime that it's cold. I'm on the balcony of my mother-in-law's. I'm not in the sunlight, but I think the colors are pretty okay in here. The sun is setting already. It's past noon. I don't know, maybe 1 p.m. or so. But it's been a nice day, beautiful day. I'm just gonna go and put my stuff back where I got them from and take the dog out for a walk. But before that, I'm just gonna talk to you, just a little bit of chatter before I go. So the plan that I have for the socks tomorrow is the start date of Sukka Finlandia, or the first episode for the first stage of Sukka Finlandia, which is a sock knitting competition. I think this is the third time maybe that they're doing it. The patterns on it are in Finnish, and can purchase your participation or get the ticket or whatever it's called from a certain online shop, and then you get the patterns in your email at certain dates. And we already know the dates, but the specific times will be announced later, or well, we do know that the one that starts tomorrow is at 9 a.m. So that's when I'll get the pattern in my email, and I'll be starting to work on it. We know that it's a sports weight sock, just using just one color, and was less than 100 grams of that yarn. So that's all we know. I have a few options for those socks, and I hope that once I finish them, they'll be nice and fit my nephew's girlfriend's feet. So that's what I'm aiming for. So yeah, Sukka Finlandia has 6 stages, and it ends the beginning of March. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, I forgot. I was supposed to. I was thinking that I should tell you the cardigan I'm wearing is something that I've gotten years and years ago as a present. It's not hand knit, I think, and has gotten some flaws or holes in it over the years, but I just figured that you wouldn't see them here on the screen. And the cowl that I'm wearing is my free falling cowl that I made in January a few years ago. It has my leftovers from my Dora sock competition from the previous summer, maybe 2017 or something. This is a pattern from Susanna Winter, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, the Christmas break is almost over for us. We're just spending the last few days in here, and on Tuesday I go back to work. Although I have a weird work day from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. That's how it is. The life of a part-time university teacher teaching a language that is not compulsory to anybody. So the schedules must be such that hopefully a lot of students will have an opportunity to fit it in their own schedule. Anyway, so that's me on Tuesday. My son will be going back to school, and my daughter will be going back to preschool. So back to your day-to-day life again. We spent the Christmas at my mom's. We were at my sister's on Christmas Eve, which is that date in Finland, and spent it with my sister's family and my mom. And then on Christmas Day, we were at my mom's, and both my sisters and their families came over there. And then we had some other things in there. And actually came back only on Sunday. We went to see the movies. Went to the movies to see Frozen 2 just this weekend. It was really good. It was really sad too. I cried a lot, but it was great. And afterwards, we went to Church Park at the city center in Jyväskylä, where they have these really nice light figurines, whatever. I'll put a video of them here at the very end of this episode. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in a few weeks. Bye.